Hi everyone, I'm Anime, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are making a vegan pesto pasta, everything from scratch. And like I said, it's vegan, so everything in it will be plant-based, no meat, no dairy, anything like that. So hope you guys are excited as I am. Can't wait to show you. It will be detailed. So I'll also leave the recipe ingredients in the comments. Now, before we get too far, stop and hit that subscribe button. Right there. Subscribe so that way you get notified every time I post a video, and you can be kind of like the VIP club. I like that. True to you VIP. Now a little bit about myself is I've been vegan for about a year. Today is July 12th, and I've been vegan since July 13th of 2019, and it's 2020 right now at this moment that you're looking at this video. But yeah, and what inspired me to become plant-based vegan is basically just health. I want to be proactive about my health. I struggled with some inflammation issues, and I just wanted to, get rid of the inflammation in my body naturally without medicating. So this is what this channel is going to be dedicated to. We're going to focus on holistic eating practices, holistic health practices, and just healing our mind, body, and soul as one, with healthy thinking, healthy perspectives, healthy eating habits, healthy soul practices, whether it's meditation or what have you. So that's what we're all about here on the True to You channel, hosted by me, Anime. So without further ado, let's get right into this recipe. Wait a minute now. Did you hit that subscribe button? Did you? Don't wait. Subscribe now. Not now, but right now. Right now. Subscribe! Oh yes, guys, disclaimer, okay? I use the spirits of my ancestors to help me cook these meals, okay? So what you will not see in this kitchen are measuring cups, measuring spoons, anything like that. So if you need that stuff, I will do my best to guide you on, approximate measurements and such. But, FYI, we just gonna do it until my ancestors say that's enough, child. That's enough, child. If you feel me, hit a like for me. No, but in all seriousness, I will do my best to tell you about approximate measurements and such for those of you that depend on that, because I understand, some of us need that to cook and get the recipe right. Otherwise, it'll be a disaster. But be confident. We're cooking with love here. We're cooking with love. True to you. True to your family, but most importantly, true to you. So we're going to cook with love. You're going to enjoy it. Your family is going to enjoy it. Your friends are going to enjoy it. So don't even worry about it. Okay, we're going to start with the pesto sauce. That's the most important part of this recipe. So we have raw cashews, a few garlic cloves. I have some nutritional yeast, olive oil, a lime, basil, and spinach. Disclaimer. For many of the things that we do here, you're going to need a food processor. This is pretty basic, Black & Decker food processor, 2 speeds, low and high. Now, you're going to need it, for example, sauces, dressings, and things like that when we make burgers. Pretty affordable, so you'll want to invest in one if you don't already have one, food processor. And again, these are the ingredients for the sauce. I'm going to show you how it breaks down. Let's get started. Now I told you guys that I'm not great at measurements. I just don't do them. We're going to cook from the heart. We're going to cook from the soul. We're going to cook with love. So with that said, I believe this is about a half a cup of cashews, give or take. And you can soak these overnight for a few hours. I'm going to soak them for a few minutes. I don't like when they are extra soft and soggy. If you soak them for a long period of time, that's what happens. So I'm just going to set these to the side for now. And I'm going to get started on the other ingredients. So up to the side you go, cashews. And that water is hot, by the way. Just so you know, it's hot. Yeah, moving on. Okay, now with the food processor, usually comes with a few different things. You're gonna want to put your blades in because you're gonna want to chop this stuff because this is going to turn into a sauce. Keep that in mind, okay? So you want to put the blades in, and then we're gonna put in our basil. Well, that's the basil. We're gonna put in our basil and our spinach. And I'm going to, I don't have to chop this up. Haha, that's the beauty of having a food processor. I was getting ready to say, I'm gonna chop these up. No. Let's just put this stuff in here. Now, I've rinsed the spinach off. It's about a cup, give or take. Now that I have my spinach in here, like I said, about a cup, I don't know how well you can see that, I'm going to add the basil and do the exact same thing, rinse it off. And I'm going to put just about a cup, maybe a little more, because most of the flavor from the pesto sauce will come from the basil, of course. So keep that in mind when you're making this. You can tweak the recipe however you choose, but keep that in mind. If you do not know about the smell of fresh basil, OMG, delectable. Yeah, we're gonna put this next. Put this in the food processor next, that is. Here we go. I peeled off the shell of the garlic and basically have thrown it in there like such. And next I'm going to slice this lime, get some lime juice in there, fresh lime juice. We're gonna add about a tablespoon. You can use more, you can use less. Nutritional yeast is pretty potent. Now keep in mind that your basil is very potent. So when you're making this spinach to basil ratio, just keep in mind that the basil is more potent than the spinach will be taste-wise and smell-wise. And you know, a lot of the taste from food comes from the smell, of course. So with that being said, and also the leaves and all the ingredients will break down in this sauce to be quite a nice amount. So you may want to use less or more in this recipe depending on how many people you want to serve. And as I said, you can tweak the recipe however is necessary. So sliced our lime. Now the nice thing about this recipe is you could use a lemon if you'd like. I prefer lime, and you could use as much or as little as lime juice as you like. I'm going to squeeze a nice amount into here. I know you guys are like, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Decent amount of lime juice on this thing. That is not water, that's lime juice. And then we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil. I'm not gonna use a spoon, I'm just gonna pour some in the cap and dump it right in there. As you can see, my bottle's not even open. How you like that? How you like that? Literally a cap full. Just dump that right in there like so. And we're gonna do another one just because it feels nice. With my raggedy dry finger all in the camera. Hands just dry. That's how you know I washed them. I washed my hand, guys. My hands, plural. I washed both of them. Now I have about a teaspoon of this nutritional yeast. I almost forgot what to call it. But keep in mind, I said that is some powerful stuff. So you want to be careful of how much you add. And this is a nice recipe to taste test. So like once you mix up all your ingredients, you can add things to make it taste different or whatnot. But that's probably all of the nutritional yeast I'm going to put in this. Nutritional yeast is a popular ingredient in a lot of vegan recipes, and it is a great source of B12. So for those of us that don't eat meat, we need B12. Nutritional yeast isn't going to be your only source of B12. You most likely will need a supplement. We'll talk about that another day. But right now, I just wanted to tell you guys that B12 is great for, or not B12, but nutritional yeast is great for B12. FYI, little facts. Alright, so I dumped that hot water off. It was warm at this point, but dumped the water off my cashews. We're going to put this in the pesto. And I want to say that cashews are kind of like to mimic the Parmesan, because most pesto recipes will have Parmesan cheese. Well, as vegans or people that don't eat dairy, we can't have Parmesan cheese. And this will give it that nice texture and kind of mimic that Parmesan cheese flavor. And also, cashews are going to be used in a lot of vegan recipes, especially cheese replacement. Like, I make macaroni and cheese. I'll show you guys that recipe as well. And I use cashews for that. But this is about a cup, give or take. I told you guys measurements. Don't do that. You can in your kitchen, and that's perfectly fine. And hopefully I can help you gauge what measurements you need if you really depend on measurements, because love, soul, and spiritual guidance, y'all. Like I told y'all. I should add that I added more lime juice. I just want to make sure that the flavor is all even and it really tastes like pesto. For the record, this is the second time that I've made this recipe. And I have a colleague that's Italian, and I made too much sauce, to be honest. So I just said, hey, pal, you want some of this pesto? He paid me the greatest compliment. He said it was the best pesto he had, I want to say ever or in a long time. Either way, still a great compliment. I mean, he's Italian, for God's sake. So, and this is vegan, and I definitely emphasized to him, like, this is a vegan recipe, sir. So, Toot toot. Okay, so because I'm a little goofy, I had the knob turned on because I wiped this down before I used it. And yeah, we already started to kind of mix this up. But you can see already the color is already starting to look like pesto. And I just stopped midway through to push everything down to make sure it all comes out nice and smooth. Now this is one of those don't be nervous things. You see the blades, it's not necessarily catching my ingredients. So I just added a little bit more spinach, a little bit more basil. And this is like a foolproof recipe, so don't be nervous when you're making this. And you can taste test it, like I said. First of all, have you subscribed? We're halfway through this, and I need you to stop what you're doing and hit that subscribe button for more recipes like this. Step-by-step tutorials. So with that being said, this is a very simple recipe. And if you're a beginner, it may take you an hour and a half, 2 hours, but it should not take that long. It should take about 30 to 45 minutes tops to make this recipe. It's pretty quick. So hopefully you get the hang of it and you can knock it out quickly for your family. As you may or may not know, there's tons of noodles on the market these days. Pasta noodles, spinach made noodles, lentil made noodles, all kind of noodles. I like wheat noodles. I like the idea of the fiber that it contains. You could use any noodles you want. You could use the regular Durham, Selim, or however you say it, noodles. I like wheat noodles. Everything that I make as far as pasta goes, I use wheat. So this is kind of like Rotini noodles, which is great for gripping pesto sauce. And you want to be very specific on the kind of noodles that you use for certain recipes. Now, I warned you guys in the beginning that I do not do measurements. So about a handful of cashews I'm going to add. Since I've been mixing this up in the food processor, I've added 2 additional capfuls of olive oil, so that makes a total of 4. I cut up an additional lime because there was only so much lime juice in the first one, and I've just been squeezing it in there, and you just want to adjust as you go along. I also added a little bit more leaves of spinach and basil to this. Not very much, just a little bit. Pesto sauce is done. I'll show you that to you guys momentarily, but I want to mention and emphasize that you can customize this to your taste. Taste test it as you go, adjust the ingredients as you go, and we're going to move on to part 2. I have sun-dried tomatoes, and this is my recipe. Again, you can customize it. You can make it exactly how I'm doing it, and I say that because in this pesto pasta, I'm going to make it with sun-dried tomatoes, portobello mushrooms. So now we're taking this whole portobello mushroom, slicing it down like such, and we're gonna season it and grill it. All seasoned up, a little bit of avocado oil to help the seasoning stick to these portobellos. You know, these can be used as like a meat substitute, so keep that in mind for us non-meat eaters, strictly plant-based vegan. Mushrooms fresh off the George Foreman. Portobello mushrooms to be exact. So basically, I sauteed these. I say so a lot if you haven't noticed. I sauteed these sun-dried tomatoes and some spinach, and I use grapeseed oil to do so. It doesn't take very long, maybe 2-3 minutes. You just saute this really quickly. Got my noodles all ready to go, and then I'm going to add my pesto sauce to the noodles and the mushrooms that I showed you earlier, and we're going to add this next. I hope this has been really fun and informative, you know, because that's the goal. The goal is to cook, like I said, from the heart, from the soul, with love. I try to give you guys measurements. I'm going to also try to give you guys information, which I'll try to do on this channel. If you haven't already, I will remind you and say it again. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. There's more to come. And here's the finished product. I forewarn you guys that I'm not the greatest at presentation. So, yeah, you'll have to bear with me as I get better at that. Because a lot of times things will taste really great, but I'm not the greatest at filming them or photographing them in a way that showcases that. So, yeah. Hope you guys like it. Let me know in the comments if you try it, what you think of your own recipe. And I've already taste tested this all the way through. Everything's amazing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications, and stay tuned for the videos that I have coming soon for you. Thank you guys so much for joining me in making this meal. I hope you and your family or your friends will enjoy it. Please share your feedback in the comments as far as what you feel about the video, what you feel about the recipe, if you love it, if your family and your friends love it. I love it. I've taste tested it the whole time, and it's really good. I can't wait to dig in and actually eat it. So thanks again for joining me. Stay tuned for what we have next. As always, be true to you.